Wow, SP Little Knight actually managed to shatter expectations and head up to 500 plus. You guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So I want to talk about this current problem that the competitive community, actually Yu-Gi-Oh players in general, feel like they're facing right now with the expected shatterment of SP Little Knight going to $100. First of all, what did you think was going to happen out here? We've gone through all the warning signs of everything out here. We said expect major movements after the YCS when people started seeing the competitive side start to take off. The warning signs were all over the room, all right? They were in the biggest bold print that you had. And I'm also loving the fact that people out here complaining about pre-sale prices on SP Little Knight. Some of these places had them at $70, $80, and they were going, wow, I would have bought this had I known it was coming. Pre-sales are bad. Yeah, you weren't going to pay it at $80 anyway. You're still not going to buy the card at $100. All right, you're going to sit here and you're going to complain about the price point because it's just what you do. The good news about all of this, though, is unless you're playing the super duper heavy combo variant, you only need one SP Little Knight. Now, the other interesting thing that's kind of come out of all of this is the first QCR that we have that has shattered the $300 mark. And I think that's actually very interesting to see because now this means that we can see more value like this kind of coming through the market here. And when you're having a QCR that people are kind of looking around at right now going, wow, you know, I can't actually believe that this shattered this value. Yeah, I agree. I didn't think we would see the card shattering up to $600 nearly, and then, you know, kind of re-rolling back on down here. But you have to remember, this Age of Overlord hype is real. This is one of the best sets that the game has had in a long time in terms of meta-changing cards. All right, staples are incredibly powerful. Now, I know John made a video talking about the price problem with like Thrust as well. So here's the thing. All right, SP Little Knight is a one-of. All right, it goes in all of your decks. You don't have to buy a different SP Little Knight for all of your decks. And it's kind of going to go into the same argument here as well for Thrust. You know, you don't need to have 3 Thrust. 3 helps out. Some builds are playing 2, some builds are playing 1. But once you have these copies of these cards, they're all interchangeable across the board. It's not like, you know, you have to have a set of these for all of these different decks. I think that's the most important thing out of this. Yeah, it absolutely sucks that the price point on these cards is so expensive, but you're paying for that competitive card. You're paying for, holy crap, this card is amazing, and it does the job. All right, like, that's what happens. Now, I've also been seeing people out here getting upset. Either like, wow, the competitive scene is ruining cardboard prices. No, you had a chance to get this. You had the chance to pick it up on pre-order from all the sites. Everybody complains that pre-sales are the absolute worst. You know, you shouldn't be picking things up at these prices. And then, you know, there's usually 1 to 2 things that will shine, and SP Little Knight was a primary example of these power cards that will come through here and just shatter all of these expectations. And now, guess what? The community's sitting on a new staple that every single deck essentially wants to have 1 of to be able to play. 2, if you're doing the Rescue Ace, you know, combo lines and all of the little crazy exclusiveness in terms of that. So where do we sit from here? Is it possible to play without SP Little Knight? Because, I mean, Rarity Collection is on the horizon here, you know. And Rarity, this is one of the things I've been shouting to the top of the sky for a long while here, is everybody put all their money into Rarity Collection, which is a fine call. I mean, all the good reprints and everything, but a lot of people skipped on Age of Overlord, and now we're seeing the fact that the market can barely keep up with the demand for the current modern era staples. You know, SP Little Knight being one of these cards that's just clamoring down off of the top here that players want to make sure that they can get. And it's going to be the same endless cycle. People are going to be picking up the set because they look at the value in this. They're like, hey, I can get a box for, maybe $70. And all of a sudden, you could turn that $70 into something crazier. There can be a lot of people wanting to play for this product, and a lot of store shelves are going to be without this set. And then, of course, once again, you have Rarity Collection coming through here, which makes the game experience cheaper. But in the law of Yu-Gi-Oh!, as prices come down, as we see Rarity Collection bringing in all of these old staples and making them affordable, the fresh new cards push the price point up through the roof. SP Little Knight and Thrust. Now back to the question, can you play without SP Little Knight? Well, I've been playing Runic, and SP Little Knight is something that does make things playable. You can play without it. It does help to have it as a one-of, but the thing is, you're paying for that cost to have it as an access point to every deck. It's not like you have to buy all these different deck cores all the time. Once you pick up the one-of, you're good to go. All right, and I think that's the biggest thing here is, you only need one to start. There can only be one. Outside of that, players are going to complain about prices no matter what happens. People are going to complain about pre-sales. People are going to go, yeah, I should have bought this at X price point. No, you weren't going to buy it at that price point. You're only saying that because now that you've seen where it went, you're having regrets. It's the same endless cycle over and over again. And remember, competitive play is not for everybody. I don't feel like I emphasize this enough, but you don't have to have these crazy cards. You can very easily play the game without them. Don't expect to win. I mean, that's kind of the thing, all right? Like, these cards assist you in having game-winning strategies. I think that's something that people tend to forget about is you can play all sorts of strategies in this game. There are all sorts of things that you can kind of come up with out here and have a good time playing. But you have to remember that Yu-Gi-Oh! Does pretty much have a pay-to-win mentality. And with that pay-to-win mentality, it means that you need to have probably the strongest updated cards to make sure that you can overcome these matchups and do your thing. And unfortunately, that's kind of where budget players tend to get punished a little bit is, if they don't have necessarily the shiniest new card out here, well, unfortunately, this is where, you guessed it, they don't get the chance to kind of keep up with this, and they get left behind. And that's kind of where we're starting to see right now, at least with Thrust and SP. The good news is, once again, I mean, not every deck needs Thrust, all right? Like, I'm just going to be honest there. Like, if I had to pick with what was going to be absolutely mandatory in terms of pickup, it would be the SP Little Knight. I would pick the SP all the time because I could cover a lot more ground with this. And I also, honestly, Thrust is a cool card. I just don't like the interactions that kind of come with it. Like, I have my set, don't get me wrong, but it's just, Thrust doesn't really tend to do too much. Good news, though, is, SP Little Knight's price is going to be probably locked in for October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, probably May. You're looking at least 7 months for that $100 investment. So if you were looking at picking up one to have at least for the next couple of months, so you could be like, hey, I want to play some competitive for a while, that $100 investment should be something that you can take out essentially at any time out here and kind of be better off because of it. So I think that's something kind of important to consider too is, how long will this card maintain this price point? And I would say at least for the next 5 to 7 months. All right. Once we start to get kind of closer to the 10s and we start to get out of this year into early next, then of course the fear and anxiety of reprints will begin as the timer tends to go. But for now, welcome to the era of the $100 staple. Yeah, who would have guessed this, man? A card that every deck essentially needs to play. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. It's called a staple. All right. Unfortunately, it's just what happens. But you didn't help prevent the price of this. No, because people need the card. All right. I told you to go buy them on pre-sale, or at least consider it. Nothing you knew about that now. All right. What ifs? Literally, hope in one hand, shit in the other. It tends to be a lot of the tendencies around here. Please, if comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace out. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.